In this exercise, we need to convert a trial balance that has a debit and credit column into a single column so that if it's a debit, it should be a positive number, and if it's a credit, it should be a negative number. So this first cell should say minus 277,328. This cell should be a positive 137. When you have done all the formulas, you should be able to create a sum function here, and this should all add up to 0. In this example, we have a number of employees and their rating, and at the bottom here, we've got an average. We want a function that will compare each person's rating to the average, and if they're above average, it will say above average, and if they're below average, it will say below average. In this example, we want to work out who gets a commission and who doesn't. So what we want is a formula that will look at the sales, compare it to the level at which commission gets in, and if it's appropriate, so if it's bigger than and equal to 20,000, it must say 5%. If it's not, it must say 0%. In this example, we want to run some scenarios. So we know we've got units sold, scenario 1, which are these, and scenario 2. And the selling price, it's either at that price, scenario 1, or those prices, scenario 2. We've got a calculation here which takes the units sold times the selling price. We want to create a function here that, for example, for the unit sold, will look at what the number is there, and if it's a 1, it must bring through these numbers, and if it's a 2, it should rather bring through those numbers. Same with the selling price, it must look at the selling price scenario, and depending what numbers in here, it must either bring through that row or that row, so that we can easily play with these two to decide what the revenue will be for the year. In this example, we've got a whole bunch of employees and their total hours worked. What we need to do is to figure out how much is normal hours, overtime, and leave for short work. So we need functions, and a workday is 8 hours. So we need a function that will check the normal hours worked. So it will say how much did they work. If it was 8 or more, you expect to see an 8 recorded here. If it's less, then whatever that number was. For the overtime, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the total hours worked. If it's more than 8, then the difference between the amount and 8 should be shown. So over here, 13 should be 13 minus 8, it should show 5. And over here, if they worked a short day, so less than 8 hours, we should see the difference here. So this should look, and if that is less than 8 hours, what we should see here is 8 minus whatever the hours worked were. So we would expect to see a 2 here. So just as a further example, here we'd expect to see normal hours 6, overtime nothing, leave 2. Over here there'd be normal hours of 8, because we've got a 9 there. Overtime would be 1, there'd be no leave for short work.